Falling into the deep end. Chapter 44. Spoiler. Manga. It's raining. Estella. The children. I will give you a hint. Always keep your eyes glued on the kids. The best is to keep them inside the house. Where are our children? Keep your eyes on the children. A sharp scream is heard over the ringing in her ears. The babies. Estella suddenly snapped back to her senses and looked at Isak. The two stared at each other for a second, then quickly scanned the surroundings to find the twins who couldn't stay quiet. It has been a while since the children were in sight. Since when? God. What a stupid thing I've done. I shouldn't have taken my eyes off them. Actually, it hasn't been long since I looked away from the children and glanced at Isak, who placed the flower crown on my head. It's only been a few minutes, really. In that brief moment, the children disappeared. Who took them? Or did they run off somewhere? Meanwhile, the raindrops that were falling intermittently turned into a torrential downpour before I realized it. Oh no, I can't see the children, Isak. Lucia. Lustel. It was raining so heavily that my vision was blurred, and I couldn't even open my eyes. Was this the conversation I had with the 26-year-old Estella in my dream? To watch over the children. Stupid. Why did I take my eyes off my kids? I'm stupid. Estella began blaming herself for who she was. Her hands started trembling as if she were very nervous, and Isak hugged her while looking around frantically, under a large ginkgo tree. Isak. I can't see the children. I know. I'll look for the children from now on, so wait here. What? No. Let's go together. It's raining this way. I'll go alone. Wait. They must have entered the nearby forest. Saying that, she pulled Isak's sleeve so that he wouldn't leave her behind. A pale hand gripped him and shook at the same time. Let's go together. I want to find 'em too. They're my children. Seeing Estella biting her now blue lips, Isak could only nod. Yes. I think it's better to go together. He could imagine how nervous she would be. She would not stop biting her nails, biting her lips, trembling, and feeling anxious if he left her alone under this tree. The rain was falling like a pole, falling slowly, then falling sharply again and then falling intermittently. Both ran through the wide park, looking like wet mice. There was no trace of the children. The farther they went, the drier Estella and Isak's mouths became, and their hearts beat as if they were about to crash to the ground. My head is dizzy, and my hands and feet are sweating profusely, even though they are cold. Estella had a throbbing headache, and a voice at the end of the ear tinnitus kept appearing, confusing her even more. As it rained, the ground began to crumble and seemed to move, and the hem of her dress was covered in mud. Before she knew it, her shoes were irreparably stained. I felt like a madwoman. The ground was a mess, so I often took a wrong step. If it weren't for Isak, holding my hand tightly every time I slipped, I would have fallen to the ground screaming for my children. Estella felt that Isak's hand, holding hers, was also trembling. Are you more anxious, or are you not expressing it? Isak silently picked up Estella every time she fell, but showed no expression on his face. After walking for a while through the wide park, I saw something familiar on the path leading to the outer forest. Estella quickly ran down that path and picked up what had fallen to the ground. A flower crown. I quickly looked up and saw the dark forest ahead. Are the children in there? Even the gray sky was not visible because of the densely packed trees filling the sky. Did the children really enter that dark place? Looking down, I saw two small footprints side by side on the floor. Of course, some were erased by the rain, but they were the right size for the children's feet. Did they enter to escape the rain? I don't know Lucy, but doesn't Lustel hate the dark? Lucy. Lustel. Lucy. Lustel. Estella quickly ran inside. Isaac quickly lost his composure and started running after Estella. Isaac was equally bewildered by the disappearance of his children, but this time, it wasn't just about them. Seeing Estella run frantically as if possessed by something made him more anxious. As if she had realized something. As if someone had been hit by something, Estella shook her hand, looked ahead. Even when she fell, she got up again and ran barefoot when her shoes came off. Isaac shouted Estella's name from behind, but Estella didn't stop. Estella. She ran forward for a long time before turning around. Did she see something? Estella, who had been running for a long time to a place that seemed to know where she was going, as if she knew the way, then there was a lake in sight, and she jumped into it. It happened in an instant. Isaac immediately followed Estella into the water without even panicking. It was only after entering the water that he found Lustel and Estella inside. Isaac quickly picked them up. Lucy was also on one side, crying profusely. Lustel began to cough and spit out the water he had inside. Lustel started crying. As soon as Estella came out of the water, she checked Lustel's heartbeat. Lucy ran and hugged Lustel. Isaac quickly embraced the two children and patted them on the back, soothing them as calmly as possible. No need to make a fuss, don't get angry, just pat the kids on the back as if it's no big deal. It seemed like the message he wanted to convey to Estella through his gaze. It's okay. You're okay, he repeated slowly in a low voice. Estella, are you okay? Isaac, holding the children, tried to lift Estella with the other hand, who was sitting. Estella, I told you not to take your eyes off them. Why? Why didn't you listen? Why? Then you do the same thing over and over. Stupid. She muttered something with her eyes closed. Feeling strange, Isaac squeezed Estella's shoulders and called her name again aloud. Estella. Suddenly, she reacted startled. What happened with our children? Estella, who suddenly regained her senses, stood firm for a moment before cautiously asking. The twins in Isaac's arms started crying again and were embraced by Estella. My children. Mama. Your mother was worried. Oh. Let's see. Where are you injured? Huh. Estella meticulously examined the faces and bodies of the children. I wonder if the person whose entire body was wet and white was in a position to examine someone, but even so, she was nervous, she couldn't control her body, she was worried about the children's safety. Estella, I've already confirmed that they are okay. Don't worry, they're not hurt. Let's go back to the carriage for now. The children and Estella would catch a cold if they stayed outside, so Isaac hugged Estella with the children in his arms. Estella stood up, but after a while, she sat back down. I don't have strength in my legs. Estella seemed to have exhausted all her strength. As if trying to suppress her emotions, Estella covered her mouth with outstretched hands or played with her hair for no reason. Isaac said, sitting at eye level with her. I'll come to get you back. I'll leave the kids in the carriage and come back right away, so can you stay alone until then? Yeah, sure, of course. I'm not a child. I can be alone. I also have a coat. So, it's not cold. Seeing her worried eyes, Estella tried to smile and pretended to be fine. Isaac couldn't easily take his eyes off her, but quickly ran to the carriage because the children were slightly shivering. Inside the dark forest, as Isaac and the children disappeared, Estella erased her awkward smile and grabbed the coat she had taken off before. She huddled and buried her face in her knees. My heart keeps beating wildly. What happened? Estella couldn't remember anything for a moment. The children had disappeared, and Isaac and I were calling them under the rain. Then I picked up the crown Isaac made on the path leading to the forest. I don't remember anything after that. It wasn't until Isaac grabbed her by the shoulder and called her name she came to her senses. The children were crying in Isaac's arms, and the three of them were soaked. Don't you remember? In that moment when I couldn't hear or see anything, something occupied Estella's mind. Run, run, run faster, jump into the lake, it's there, pull them out of the water, check their heartbeat, examine their heartbeats. It wasn't Estella's body. My feet moved before I realized it, and then I don't remember. Estella felt that her knees hurt, so she lifted her skirt. When I lifted the hem of my muddy skirt, I could see my knees and bare feet with wounds here and there. It was muddy and stumbled on a stone and fell. I was bleeding from the open wounds. What is this? I felt like I was being manipulated by someone. Was that the conversation I had with my future self in my dreams? Does being attentive mean this? Did my future self know something? My head was complicated. Still confused, the tinnitus persisted. I felt like someone was talking to me. With the headache, Estella buried her face in her lap again. I'm scared. Was it the rain? Now that I think about it, it's not raining at the moment. After the rain stopped, her whole body became goosebumps because of the cold rising from the ground. She clenched her fists, shivered, and looked up at the sky. I can't see the sky. It feels like being trapped under the dense trees. A corner of my heart continues to feel uneasy and obstructed. Estella closed her eyes tightly. What a fright! What a fright! It was terrifying. What happened? Why did I come to the future? What conversation did I have in my dream? Why were the children drowning? Why couldn't I remember anything? Suddenly, I was afraid of everything. I'm scared. Just as I was about to feel the warmth in my tightly closed eyes, I lifted my gaze. When I looked up in surprise, I saw Isak exhaling. Isak, have you already? There's a carriage nearby. I came right away. We're close to the carriage. We just have to head towards the park entrance. Is that all? Is that all you have to say to me? Is that all? Did you run? Were you worried about me? Were you scared? Isak asked. If I was scared. At that question, Estella distorted her face and broke into tears like a child. She buried her face in Isak's chest and cried. Isak began to pat her back gently as he had done with Lucy and Lustel before. You're okay. You're okay, Estella. Ugh. I was scared. You know when we lost our children. It was like it wasn't my body. It hurts, but Isak doesn't come. He said he would come. Estella cried bitterly and hit Isak's chest as if she were complaining. I'm sorry. I told you I would come soon, but I was delayed. Why are you so late? No. Actually, I know you came very quickly. I just wanted to complain to someone. I also want someone to continue calming me, reassuring me, and telling me that everything was fine and there was nothing to worry about. Estella thought about it and buried her face in his arms again. Isak, as if recognizing her feelings, rubbed Estella's back for a while. Hi. Want more? From AudiNovel. Subscribe and see more in my YouTube channel.